Good morning, good evening, good afternoon to all my blessed beloveds out there in video land. You're watching Living and Thriving with Rusty, and I'm Rusty, and I get to do this. Oh my God, I can't even tell you. I literally jump out of bed every morning that I'm doing these interviews because I get to meet some amazing people and I get to share them with you. It is so amazing to watch the growth of individuals, and when they tell their story and their passion and their love and their willingness to share their life and their purpose with you, there are no words. There are no words for what I do other than I love what I do. And right now, I'm every half an hour on the half an hour with guests so that you have 52 weeks plus of amazing stories and amazing people to watch, learn, listen, love, and maybe even get annoyed with. And getting annoyed with somebody isn't a terrible thing. It allows you to check yourself to realize what is making you uncomfortable with that conversation. What challenges are you going through that this conversation might be bringing up? So I like to change people's perspective. I like to challenge their perspective. I like you to look at yourself a little deeper, a little harder, a little bit more aware. And Dr. Robin, hello, my friend, is going to challenge us with her story of who she is, what she does, and why she is who she is. Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, my friend, you have cute earrings on. Are those glass?
No, they're like coppery with a little stone in the middle. So.
Oh, those are pretty. They're coming out like an aquamarine.
Yes, that's my birthstone. It tends to be one of my turquoise. Tends to be my color I'm drawn to. So.
Your go-to color. Nice.
Yes.
So, Dr. Robin, who are you? What do you do, and what makes you you?
That is a good question. So I have a very unique private practice that is an integration of 25 to 30 years of ministry, inner healing, deliverance type of ministry. I have a master's in psychology, specialized in addiction counseling and that type of ministry as well for years. And I've also been into alternative medicine for about 30 years as well, which started with my own health journey. And so I would say the way I got to this modality that I use, which is called a holistic energy practice, was partly, again, my own journey of seeing that we are a body, soul, and a spirit, and that you have to address all of them to get well and to be healthy and to thrive. And so that was, part of my journey over the years of realizing that there weren't very many holistic types of practices or modalities out there. Just accrued bits and pieces. I think one of the biggest impetuses in that is that I was married to a man who had a sex addiction. And in spite of cutting edge counseling techniques and even nutrition and that type of thing, and a lot of ministry, he didn't get well. And so I think my journey has really been about, well, I don't think God's broken. And, I was able to get healed from an eating disorder. So I don't think anything is incurable on any level. And I don't think we were designed broken. So that really has led me to look for techniques that actually work. So around 2010, 11, I can remember this moment where I was standing in front of a mirror, and I've done so many years of work on myself, and I actually had a good childhood to boot. And I remember standing in front of the mirror, kind of premenopausal, a little bit depressed. I just moved to Dallas. It was a tough move from Florida. I think any place moving from Florida is a tough move. And this thought, I looked in the mirror and I just said, I had this thought about, like, am I good enough? Or, would a man ever love me? I was divorced. And I remember thinking, I've done way too much work to believe what this program is coming up from my subconscious. And so about the same time, everywhere I turned, I just kept running into, again, the law of attraction and these kind of quantum physics principles. And as I really decided God was leading me in that direction and I dipped more into it, I realized that almost all the inner healing principles I had learned were really the same thing. And so that was kind of where I began to align. Oh my gosh, you know, quantum physics is just science. And these principles are really scriptural. They're really the same thing that Jesus told us to do and Paul told us to do in the scripture. And so I began, you know, I wrote my first book in 2013. The book I have now, Thrive, is a rewrite of my first book with about 50% more content added. And I just really felt like I had this download of what is this like to live this life of thriving. I've been a Christian 25 years at this point. I honestly didn't see a lot of Christians I felt like were really thriving. And so I kind of wanted to know the secret. You know, I've got all these tools. I had just finished my master's degree and I was looking at becoming a licensed professional counselor, and I didn't feel called to that. And I was very supernaturally led to a method called the emotion code. And it involved using muscle testing to communicate directly with the subconscious, asking yes and no questions. It works on the same technology as a lie detector test. And that we could find any root or anything that was trapped in a person, because quantum energy is always stored. You're a supercomputer. You remember everything you've ever had for breakfast your entire life. You just don't have conscious access to that information. But your subconscious has retained everything. It's retained everything your ancestors did. It's in your DNA. From the womb on, you have been a sponge and a supercomputer gathering all this data. So what I learned is that if we can access that data and we can find out the root causes of mental, emotional, physical, spiritual issues and release them, it's all energy. We're made up of atoms. Everything's energy. Then truly we can see a lot better results than a lot of the, you know, techniques I've seen just in psychology or counseling or, you know, more traditional therapy. And so that was really how I, you know, that's kind of answering both questions at the same time. It's been my life's journey, but that's how I came to develop the method that I do, which is my method. It's certified. It's I didn't create the idea of muscle testing the subconscious, but thousands, tens of thousands of people all over the world do this. But my particular toolbox is very specific to my modality.
So that's a huge mouthful, and it is. And I get it, but that doesn't mean everybody gets it, because, whoa.
Yeah.
All right. So moving from Florida, I can kind of relate. I grew up in Florida, went to college in Vermont, and I've recently moved back, and but I'm thinking about moving out. It's just different. But I love the tropics. I love the animals. I love the Jurassic Park feel. I love panthers going across my yard. I kind of feel like I'm in a safari.
Just not the snake. Just not the snakes going across your yards.
And that, it doesn't bother me either. I mean, I used to play with snakes when I was a kid. So when you grow up down here, the perspective is a lot different. It's an
Totally.
everything. When I moved to Vermont,
you quickly learn the venomous ones, and you know which ones are okay.
Right. When I moved to Vermont, I was terrified of moose because they're just huge and unpredictable. And if they fall on you, you're screwed. And so my ex-husband used to laugh at me because he's terrified of snakes and I'm not. But I'm terrified of moose and he's not. And I was like, well, but that's a geographic perspective.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
And so taking things into perspective and knowing what you know and learning what you don't know makes you a bigger person.
Right.
And I love the fact that you get into quantum physics, because I too, many, many years ago, when it first came out, I was like in love with quantum leaping, quantum physics, the whole ideology, because wow, it makes sense, right? But what I want to dig into literally is the muscle memory piece, because if I lived in Texas, I'd be running right over going, okay, test my elbow. Just because I'm curious. I want to know how it works. I want to break it up into little pieces, chew on it, and then understand it.
So muscle, well, so it's actually called applied kinesiology, applied behavioral kinesiology, muscle response testing. Some people create a little bit different names for it to make it sound quantum resonance analysis. Okay. So the best way to understand it is that we're made up of atoms, we're made up of energy. We know that there's an electrical circuitry that runs through our body also, right? So If you flip off a light switch, the light goes off, right? So there's a circuitry issue going on. And those circuits are both neurological, and they're also our meridians. If you think of the meridians in our body as fiber optic light pathways, right? That's kind of one of the best ways to see it visually. And so the technology behind muscle response testing in this application, so chiropractors have used it for decades, because if they touch a part in your body that is out of alignment, there's literally a short circuit in your electrical system and your arm will go weak. So they can literally scan down your body and find that short circuit. Okay, remember, we're energy, so everything's about connecting and circuitry and flow and that type of thing. The way an allergist would use it, or a nutritionist, and again, this application has been used for decades. There's a brand of vitamins called Nature's Sunshine, which it's been around 30 or more years, and they only do muscle testing and iridology to determine what your body needs. And I do this as well in my practice. So this is a very common used, and a lot of chiropractors use muscle testing for supplements. So understand that your bottle of vitamins has a frequency or a vibration. Everything's made up of energy. And your body has a biofield. If I hold a candy bar into your biofield, you will go weak, because white sugar is toxic. It's a toxin. And your body goes, no, no, no. That in my biofield or in my body is going to make me go weak. So it can read it energetically. If we're energetic beings and we have, everything has a frequency or a vibration, okay, everything does, even a rock. We are constantly communicating 24/7. And I do a lot of demonstrations with this with groups and with my individual clients to understand this. Everything you think has a vibration or energy. We are reading each other's minds 24/7. We just don't know it. Okay. So everything we think sends out a frequency or vibration, and we receive other people's frequency or vibration. And so do objects, right? So with nutrition, if I hold a bottle of vitamins up to your body, understanding, I'm asking your body, one, is this good for you? And two, do you need it? And if your body tests strong, then I'm going to say, well, your body needs this vibration of this bottle. I may have no idea what's in the bottle. I do this all the time. I have lists and lists of vitamins. I have no idea what's in them, but their body's telling me they need the vibration of that particular thing. Remember, it's a supercomputer. Your body knows everything. Most prolific physician in the universe is your own subconscious. Okay. So that would be how vitamins would work, or allergies. If I hold a cat up to you and it makes you go weak, then you probably have an allergy to cat dander, and then there's a way to remedy that too. I don't do allergy remedy, but that there are methodologies out there for that. So basically, that is the best way to understand this idea of a biofield from most of the application I use, which is a little bit different. It's the same technology as a lie detector test. And the way that works is that if we hook you up to an EEG machine and you make a statement that's true, your body actually gives off a certain vibration. The way energy flows through your body when there's truth is different than the way energy flows through your body when it's not true. So your body registers on the paper on a true statement and a not true statement, and they use that as their baseline for the questions they actually want to ask you. So the same is true with muscle response, is that when I make a statement that's true, my body's going to respond a certain way, in this case, say strong. So a yes would be a lock or a strong response, and a no would be a weak response. I do a muscle arm response that's a pretty common way. You can also do like me trying to pry your fingers apart. Okay. So a strong would be, I can't pull them apart. A no would be, so I'm literally, now there's one other principle in quantum physics called the law of entanglement. The best way to understand that is that your supercomputer is now networked to my supercomputer. About 80% of my clients are virtual. And so I can muscle test myself for you and get the same accuracy, because right now we're connected. So I have access to your whole life and ancestry and everything else, not consciously, but through muscle testing myself for you, I can get those answers. So I see clients in Australia and Norway and Hawaii and wherever. It doesn't matter because it's the same. I like live clients because I like to confirm on their body so they can feel the difference. But, you know, with COVID, of course, my practice went much more percentage virtual. And then once people kind of get used to virtual and they still feel the effects, then, you know, they don't have to travel. I don't have to travel. So, you know, some people like to be touched, as do I, and that works well, but that just doesn't always work out. So that's really kind of in a nutshell how muscle response tests. So for example, I might have, you know, muscle test you, and I've got these charts, you know, all over, and I'm looking in 6 categories. I'm looking in structural issues, toxins, lifestyle things, nutritional, spiritual, and then mental, emotional. Most of the work is mental, emotional, because we think about 60,000 thoughts a day. And I'm asking my chart to tell me, what does your body need to release? What is something in your body that is keeping it out of alignment with peace and joy and the way it was designed? And what is your body ready to release or remove today? And so, for example, I would muscle test, and I would go, I'd find out how old you were, which I'm not going to ask you, but I'd find out
I'm 45 and I'm proud of it.
Yay, good girl, good girl. I don't have any problem telling my age either. So I would muscle test, hey, I'm finding a trapped emotion of betrayal at age 18, and it has to do with Susie. Okay. Now I've said, you know, I've got my list of emotions, betrayal comes up on my list. I muscle test the age, 0 to 20, yes. 0 to 10, no. 10 to 15, no. 16, 17, 18. So I get a lock on 18. So it's 18. It's a trapped emotion of betrayal. And then I test, is it a family, extended family, a friend? It's a female, it's a friend. Who are your female friends at 18? Diane, nope. Joan, nope. Susie, yes. So I'd say, okay, what happened at 18 with Susie that you felt betrayed? And you would go, oh, Susie stole my boyfriend, or cheated on me, cheated on my boyfriend cheated on me with Susie, right? So then I would dig into that. Okay, so from a quantum understanding, that emotion is locked in space and time at age 18 inside of your memory, your consciousness. We're going back to age 18 and we're going to dig it up and pull it out. Now, it may not seem like it relates to anything, but you go, oh my gosh, I haven't talked to Susie in almost 30 years, but yesterday she sent me a Facebook friend request. So suddenly Susie came back up on my radar, and it's right, am I thinking about Susie? And so that emotion just got uncovered, and I can now release it because it got unburied. Now the bigger issue, which was what I was sharing earlier, where, you know, I really felt the crux of our life is, and as I understood quantum physics, you know, the law of attraction actually says you will attract in your life what you believe to be true. When we have a, this is a little demo I do, when we have a negative emotion, which is a ball of energy, say rejection, and or let's take the Susie example. So I feel betrayed by Susie, and I have the thought, you know, girls are ruthless, I can't trust them, right? So in quantum, in psychology, we say, or neurology, there's Hebb's law says what fires together wires together. So the emotion of betrayal wires with a lack of trust for women, and those actually physiologically wire together. In quantum physics, we say that emotion of betrayal connects to a thought, electrical thought. Magnetic emotion connects to an electrical thought of I can't trust women, and this creates a belief, okay? So this actually in quantum physics is now a magnet. That's what the law of attraction says. This has a certain vibration, and it's magnetic in nature. So what's going to happen is I'm going to continue to attract situations where women betray me, okay? And after a couple of them, I now believe this is 100% true. Women are untrustworthy. They're backstabbers, okay? Now, how do we know I made this up? Well, 2 + 2 is always 4. That is not true 100% of the time, but it's true for me. And what makes it feel true is that strong emotion of betrayal. So in my process, what I'm doing is I'm asking your body to tell me where these are in your subconscious that are not working well for you. I keep attracting men who cheat on me. I keep attracting friends who betray me, right? So we're looking for these. We're going to energetically disconnect them, and we're going to create a new belief. I'm going to tell you from my own life, and that's part of why I do this. I've had a radical shift since I started using this process 8 years ago. Major night and day difference in the way my life operates. And I have hundreds of clients who say the same story. And
what I love about it is it's really digging down into what you experienced and turned into a belief. So we all go through shit. We go through shit storms. We go through stuff all the time. Nobody is free of this. Don't matter if you're rich, poor, male, female, dark skin, light skin, purple, don't matter. You can be an alien. Don't matter. You're going to go through some shit, right?
Yeah.
And what we do, which is really interesting on a sociological and psychological level, is we experience something and then we hold on to it because it's a Neanderthal preservation. It's way back into the caveman times of, ouch, that hurt, I'm never doing it again. I'm preserving myself. And now we're at a place where we have far more understanding, resources, and valuable information to unwire and deprogram from that Neanderthal thinking. But habitually and DNA wise, we still go into that preservation mode. Can you expand on that?
Yeah, sure. So let's use snakes for an example. You and I have been programmed because for survival, to identify a snake without freaking out, right? I had a doggy door. I had snakes come in my house all the time. I'd immediately look at them. Had baby pygmy rattlers in my house, and I've had garden snakes in my house, and other critters too, because we lived in the jungle. We lived in DeBerry, which is between Orlando and Daytona, so in West Volusia.
Yeah.
And so you go snake, and then you go, okay, your normal alert, and I believe this is like a collective consciousness about snakes, right? Because back to that ancestry of programming, snakes are harmful, but you go, it's just a garden snake, and you go and you pick it up and you put it outside, okay? So you override the initial response. But this survival response in us, absolutely, and if we've ever had trauma in an area, we have an immediate trauma response to something. If I got bit by a dog when I was 4, a little chihuahua is still going to make me jump, okay? So absolutely. So on a bigger level, and I'll give a quick story because this process is really great for releasing blocks for things like success, weight loss, love, those kind of things. We think we want to fall in love, but if every time we've been in love, we've gotten deeply hurt, our body our subconscious is more powerful than our conscious mind. It doesn't actually want to fall in love. Love is not a pleasant feeling. We are driven by purpose and pleasure. Those two things are our main drives. So if I had a client, every time she was wealthy, she got stolen from her, betrayed. It was deeply, deeply painful. Things would be stolen from her. She doesn't really want to be wealthy again. I had an interesting case, a guy in Norway, and he wanted to be more financially successful. He got a good income, and he kept sabotaging himself, and he knew it. And as we worked through what the roots were, every time he did better than his peers, he got rejected. And so subconsciously, he's either choosing rejection or financial success. Well, the emotion is more powerful than what you think you want. So his fear of being rejected, and then after we did a few sessions, I realized Norway is a socialist country. You are not supposed to do better than your peers. So that's even culturally, exacerbated. So really, we are driven by our emotional drives, and then those beliefs are locked in because of those strong emotions. And energetically, we will repel anything that threatens to traumatize us again, or, so that's one principle. The opposite principle is what I call unfinished business, which is I will keep gravitating towards somebody like my alcoholic father because I couldn't get what I needed from him. So you have kind of what seems to be the opposite, and both are very strong. But belief was if I could just get my father to love me, I would be okay. So we keep going and dating the alcoholic who is, negligent, like our father was, because we had unfinished business with our father. So those are kind of, both are quantum. They both have spiritual principles behind them too. But really, that is how we make choices most of the time. We just don't realize that's what we're doing.
So help this old lady out. Say that we have this belief because of our experience, and we're still doing the caveman preservation thing, which is normal, people. It's normal. There's no judgment, no criticism, no nothing. This is just exploring how to better yourself.
Yeah.
How do you let go of those feelings? Like, how do you reprogram yourself? Because some of this stuff is deep-seated.
Well, it is. So back to kind of the methodology, I'm asking the subconscious to tell me what's on the surface. So we're not digging down 20 layers because you're not ready to do that. So this is something we can reprogram now. So again, energetically, your emotion is just a ball of energy, okay? It feels like a massive ball. It's still a ball of energy. And so I actually use an energetic technique. I use a magnet. And once we identify this and it's to the surface, it's really more, my intention is to disconnect these two, okay? And this came from the emotion code about releasing trapped emotions, okay? So I am going to energetically first release the trapped emotion, okay? And then I'm going to energetically release the belief. Now, I will muscle test people before and after just to show them too. And once you realize your beliefs that you just made them up and they're just energy, it really empowers you to go, I can really change this, okay? Now, I may have had this reinforced 20 or 30 or 40 times, so it's gonna be a little bit of work, right? It's not always a one and done. But so energetically, what I'm doing is I'm making this disconnection. Now I'm going to put in a new belief. Well, what do you want to believe? I believe I attract women who are loyal and safe, right? So I create this new belief, right? Now, again, I will muscle test before and after, and they will see that this belief actually changed in the moment. But now we have to figure out how to put a good emotion in with that belief to lock it in. And we really just do that by using our imagination. There was a scientific study, and I can't think of the guy's name right now. I actually have it pulled up on my laptop. And he did a scientific study where he hooked people up to a brain scan. And your brain can't tell the difference between something you're experiencing and when you're fully engaged in your imagination. Hmm. So the homework I give people is to take this new belief, and I'll say, is there any woman in your life who is safe and trustworthy? Yeah, my friend, Julie. Okay, how does Julie make you feel? Well, I don't even think about it. It's not even a thought. So you feel good, you feel safe, right? I said, okay, I want you to take this belief. I believe I'm attracting friends like Julie, right? And now while you're imagining that this is true, okay, and make up in your head using as many senses, sight, smell, taste, touch as you can, because you want to try to fully engage in your imagination, and you have to engage in your emotions too. What does it feel like to feel this is true? So literally what we're doing is undoing what was done from 18 with Susie. We're putting in a new belief. I'm giving you a homework assignment to do this a couple times a day. And the people who are going to truly see a difference are usually the people who do the homework assignment or, are really ready to do this work. And once you start attracting that next friend, Sue comes along, and Sue is, not Sue, because the old Susie, right? Let's give a different name. Linda
Julie,
comes along.
You think you said Julie.
Yeah, but another friend, Linda comes along, and Linda feels like Julie. And you go, oh, wow, this really works. I'm really changing this. Now, as I continue to work with you, we may find some more Susies in your life that we can also release, okay? From a quantum standpoint, we are literally going through space and time to the origin of the offense. Susie cheated with my boyfriend. This other friend. So we're going back to the original event that caused this. and we're remembering, we're reframing the event in that moment as if it never happened. So from a quantum standpoint, it is traveling through space and time and removing in that moment. If I had been able to process that betrayal when it happened, I wouldn't necessarily have this strong belief. It's only if the emotion gets trapped, because we don't process it, because we're traumatized by it. So if I feel rejected and I get, comforted and there's an apology or amends made, it doesn't have the same locked in feeling as if that emotion was trapped and stuck in there.
All right, Dr. Robin, I am so excited about having you on today because that's beautiful. And even if anyone, everybody can take a little bit away from digging a little deeper and looking at what their belief system is surrounding whatever story and whatever hurt, and start working on that. Now, if they wanted to reach out to you to work with you, where would they find more information about you?
Okay, let me throw a little plug on my new book. I would love for you to read my book. It's very expansive, and it also gives a lengthy section on how to work on yourself and raise your own vibration. Okay, so it's a very practical book. It's not just theory. I have two websites, thrivewithrobin.com and integratedlifestrategies.com. The Integrated Life Strategies has the scheduler on it to make an appointment. The Thrive is a newer website. My person was supposed to link them, but she had a baby and that's been taking up her life for quite a while now. So one is more about public speaking in the book. The other one has products on it as well as a place to schedule an appointment with me. Yay. And it gives a really good lengthy explanation of my process and a demo video so you can see muscle testing live with somebody. So
yay. Thank you so much, Dr. Robin. I really appreciate all that you do. And I love that you're able to heal so many people and help them dig deep. So thank you.
Thank you. It's great to be on here today.
Yay. I'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
You're watching Living and Thriving with Rusty. I'm Rusty, and this is what I get to do. I get to bring amazing people from all over the world who do amazing things to help you live and thrive. It's not a bad thing to want to be a better version of yourself. It's not a bad thing to look at those deep traumas and say, hey, I'm over you. I'm grown up. I want to do something different. I want to live differently. I want to behave differently. I want to look differently, and not because of anybody else, but because it's what you want on the inside, and you have the work. You have a lot of work to do. We all do. We all have shit. All of us. And the more you work through it, the less you have of it. It's like cleaning out your garage or your closet or I have this closet that's filled with more shampoos and things. I don't even know where they came from. Somehow I've accumulated all of this stuff and I have to clean it out. And I will tell you, I'm looking forward to that because, like everything, it's time to move on. Know that you're loved, know that you're beautiful, and do something kind. I know you didn't think I was going to say it this show, right? You crazy. Go out and buy somebody a cup of coffee. Go out and send out thank you cards. That's like a cool thing to do. Thank you cards, birthday cards, even if it's not their birthday. Let's see, St. Patty's Day cards, even if it's not St. Patty's Day. These are all cards I just got, and it's June. But it doesn't matter to me. The mattering, is that a thing? Is that somebody cares enough about me to send me a card. I'm grateful. Thank you. Until next time.